I would I would highly suggest to be brave and put it out there on social media, on your Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Make up just a little quick synopsis, bullet point. This is what I've done. I'm looking for this type of career, this type of job. And you know what? It really can come down to the people who you already know. And for those of you that are just joining us, I apologize that I'm in my car, but I had a remote meeting that just butted up right against this. And so we're going to be talking today about those hidden opportunities, hidden referrals, hidden partners. Where do you find them? So we're just going to start right off with like helping job searching. So, it can go with the same conduit of finding those referrals, finding those business partners, finding loans, if you're looking for loans, finding the next client, finding that the next partner. Maybe you actually are going to get your volume up and you need to have an additional assistant, maybe an LOA. Or if you're in some other job opportunity, then, maybe there are other conduits of people who you need to know. And I can't say enough, we're going to start with social media. If you need anything, people want to help. They do. You would not believe the amount of communication that if somebody reaches out and they raise their hand and say, I need help in this department, I need a question answered, I need a job. It is amazing, the opportunities that you can have. You got to be brave and be okay with needing help and then asking for the help. And so, for starters, right now, I know I've talked about this in some of my other classes, if you want to call them classes, courses, events. It's reaching out and actually raising your hand and being really specific, but you need to do it more than once. You've got to do it more than once. And here's just an example. I was working in Utah, working for Mortgage Educators and Compliance. I was one of their national instructors for continuing education and pre-licensing. Well, they sold. Many of you know that they sold. And so therefore I didn't end up with a job. But what I did is as soon as I moved back to Arizona, I live right outside of Sedona, I wasn't quite sure exactly what I wanted to do either. I'd done a lot of different things. And so the first thing I did is redo my resume. And then I just started bopping around to just the few people that I knew here. I really didn't know a lot of people here. And I was chewing on what to do. And so sure enough, almost like I knew about 4 people in the industry. And lo and behold, one of them actually had an idea. It took a few months, but then I did end up landing just a super, super part-time job. And in addition to doing Katalyst Kampus, so for those of you that are new here, by the way, I'm Kemper Zanck, and I have a nationwide online mortgage school. So and I've just volunteered to help teach some business classes along the way. So that's why I'm here for those of you that are new, and thank you for showing up. But that's just a little story about, getting out there and asking for help and asking for what it is that you need. Question. Okay, I can't see chats, but people can come off mic and talk. So we're going to talk through this. It's going to be a group effort today. I would love to know if one of you has ended up with a referral partner, or maybe it's a client even, a conduit that's helped you be successful in kind of an interesting way. Like, it's not normal. And like, if you're a loan officer, it's maybe not a realtor. It's somebody else in the industry that has become a huge advocate of you. Or maybe it's in some social media conduit that lo and behold, you've started to get some opportunities. Does anybody have something? I can't see the chats here, so I need people to come off mic.
I'm a member of BNI, which is Business Networking International. We meet once a week, and I get a ton of referrals from that.
Okay. How long have you been doing it, and how long did it take you to start getting referrals?
I've been a member since, believe it or not, 2015. And basically, I started getting referrals immediately. We had a realtor in the group, but which still sends, even though she's no longer in the group, I still get business from her. So it didn't take very long, but you have to show up and you have to be part of it, you know. Um,
Right.
and we meet at 7 a.m. every Wednesday morning. And so some people choose not to show up. and then
Right.
and then they wonder why they don't get referred a lot of business. So um, but it's one of the best things I ever did was join BNI. So
Okay, so how many of you, either raise of hands or in the chat, how many of you are in a BNI group? And I'm going to raise my hand because I'm in one now for the first time. For the first time in my 18-year career, I'm in a BNI group.
okay.
So I was in a BNI group from 2004 until 2009. I left BNI for 10 years. So I went back in 2019. And yeah, it's great. It's Ellie's right. Like I'll join that bandwagon. You have to show up, you have to be consistent, but it has to be the right group, right? I mean, it's like anything
Yeah.
we do in life, you have to have that synergy, that like-mindedness, like begets like. So if you end up in the wrong group, like I'll have people like, oh, I hate BNI. Like you didn't have the right group. That's the difference. And that has to do with any networking group, right?
Yep.
It's just not the right group for you, but it might be right for somebody else. So keep looking because there's a lot of value in there for BNI for sure.
I love it that you said that it has to be the right group. So I decided to join a BNI group here. I'm, back in doing just reverse mortgages, in addition to, a couple of other things. But I decided I'm going to join. I wanted to get to know just people in general. Also, I wanted to start making friends and getting to know the area because I just didn't feel like I knew very many people. So I went to one BNI group in one town that was closest to me. And there's two BNI groups in the area. So I went to one week, and then the next week I went to the other one. And wow, completely different. The first one I went to, which was the one I was most excited about because it was like 2 miles from my house. I just couldn't believe that the opportunity for this second one I went to was on steroids compared to the first one. So I love that you have brought up that you really need to check out the different opportunities that are out there. It's huge when it comes to getting the feel for it. If you're in a larger area, there could be maybe, 3 or 4. I would go visit each one for sure. For making money, I just joined it. I've gone maybe 5 times. I've already had 2 referrals and I've
Yeah.
only gone 5 times.
Well, and what you have to remember about BNI, for those that don't know anything about it, it is giver's gain. And so don't go in thinking, well, send me business, send me business, send me business. You also have to use all of your those referral partners. I have an attorney, I have a CPA, I have a bookkeeper, I have a nutritionist, heat and air, and I refer those people to everybody I run into and I know because I trust them. And so the more you refer, the more you're going to get back in business.
All day. Yeah. In my group, I have a CPA, a bookkeeper, a trust. She's not a lawyer, but she kind of does the marketing for trust. And then she works with a whole bunch of trust lawyers.
Yeah,
Like,
that's where
like
that's where I got my trust attorney from, was BNI Group. So yeah.
there's a lot of value that comes with it. There's work that goes with it, but that's what it takes. But here's something to think about also of BNI Group. It's like you've got 20, 30, 40. There's at least 30 people in my BNI group. It's almost like you've got 30 people helping you. So it's really something to consider when you're looking at where to put your energy and your time. Now, the whole idea of today's class when it comes to hidden, right? They're not hidden. You just have to decide what conduit you're going to lean on. BNI, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Now, some of you might not be morning people. So maybe most BNIs, they meet at 7 a.m., which means you need to get up at, 6 a.m., etc. So if you're not a morning person, maybe think about, what about the chamber? Raise of hands. How many of you are part of a chamber and you go to their events? You sponsor their events. Those are usually midday to late afternoon. So hidden, again, it's right in front of you. There's just opportunity, and you have to say, and you might be shocked at, if you join a chamber group, for instance, right? There's all sorts of businesses that you can nurture. And most banks and credit unions, a lot of us don't think about it. Now, there may be more people on here than just loan officers, but I would encourage, if you're in title, if you're in, title and escrow, if you're an insurance person that is on this call also, banks and credit unions, they've been here. They know a lot of people, and they also get requests for all sorts of different things. And when it comes to housing, they're all dealing with everybody's finances and their insurance and their homes and their cars. Like, there's so many opportunities. How many of you are part of a chamber and have found value with being part of a chamber?
Me, I have.
You have. And how long have you been part of a chamber?
I'm old. I've been in the industry for over 40 years, so I've always been a part of either the Oklahoma City Chamber or the Moore Chamber. So
you've been there and you've done that.
oh yeah.
Tell me this. Out of, your sphere of where you get your loans, where you've gotten your loans in the past, when it comes to the word hidden, because that again is the quest today, is like, where has been the most interesting places that you have found that you have gotten referrals and you've gotten business?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because over the weekend I got 3 new contracts in, and people went online and completed loan applications, and I didn't even know where they came from. So it's kind of all of a sudden they're just coming in. But I will tell you this, somebody did say one time, quit talking about how high the rates are. People that are coming out now are younger and they didn't know the rates were in the 2s and 3s. So don't quit saying anything.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
So,
Amen.
but the worst place that I haven't gotten any referrals is I am on 4 committees for Oakmar, which is the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Association of Realtors. And I'm on the advocacy, I'm on the affiliate, I'm on the homeless, I'm on, you name it, I'm on the committee. And I don't get anything from them ever.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What, that is interesting right there. So I want to talk about that. A lot of loan officers are like, we need realtors, we need realtors, we need realtors. You guys, I literally had maybe 1 or 2 realtors that I worked with at a time, at the most. I got my own. I found my own people. And I honestly really got them through social media.
Kathy, I have a question. So, like with my situation, I mean, I've been a part of BNI in the past. I mean, gosh, I did that long time ago, and the chamber and that. But right now, not being not being attached to a company, is that something? I mean, I know that I can participate, but should I be
Yeah,
going
Roberta,
to
go
you
visit
think
all the
doing?
BNIs in your group with your
Okay,
resume.
okay,
So our BNI group meets at lunch because I love you all, but I am not getting up at 5 a.m. to sit in a room with a bunch of people that are half asleep. So we meet at lunch. I got to eat anyways, right? Never eat alone. So we have people come through all the time that are looking for work, right? They
okay,
were with a company, they know something about BNI or whatever.
yeah,
And because again, I mean, Kathy's right, it's who you know or who they know. And nobody's going to know if you're looking for a job if you're not out there doing it every day. I mean, you're not prospecting for business, you're prospecting for a job. You need to be doing it 40 hours a week, right?
okay, yeah.
And so you can go visit any BNI group. It doesn't matter if there's a mortgage person in there or a banker or whatever, because you're looking for a job, you're not looking for a position at that BNI group.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome because yeah, it's interesting because I mean I still have networking or I would call them friends like Rochelle Gano that Annette knows and some of you know in here as well. I mean, we originally met 28 years ago in BNI. And so I'm still in contact with about 5 people that we used to meet at BNI. We did lunch too. So, but I was just curious, is that something that, it wouldn't be weird if I was doing that, basically. That's my
Well,
question.
and even if it is weird, who cares?
I mean,
I'm
I'm an
all
only
about
child. I do weird things all the time. So it's
yeah,
not,
go big. And honestly, if somebody walked in and came to a BNI group and basically just said, "Can I pass out my resume? I'm looking for a job." I would be looking at that person like they have got some mojo.
okay.
I'm gonna help them find a job. They're a mover and they're a shaker. And they're not afraid. And they're gonna get out there and make stuff happen.
That's what I was curious about.
Yeah, no, I would go to chamber events also.
Mhm.
Like there's chamber events, there's all sorts of events. Like just Google events in my area and then go to them,
Okay.
you
I mean,
know.
I would do that if I was working, so I guess it's just the same thing as I would
Yep.
normally do, but just represent myself. Okay, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. Go have fun, you know? Go to some of these events just for the darn fun of it, you know, even if it's not a work oriented thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you like dancing, go find some events where there's dancing. If you like music or birding or anything, a craft, go to farmers markets. Like there's just people. You need to go where there's people where you can strike up some conversations. Walk into every single bank and credit union if that is in your wheelhouse of things that you would consider. Just walk in and trust me, I've been this last month, I've been in 17 different credit unions and banks, and I literally just left one. That was my meeting this morning that I was almost late to this one for, and they've desperately been looking for 2 people to hire, and they cannot find experienced people or even anybody that wants to work.
Mm.
So there's opportunity. So I want to circle back around, you guys, to social media. It's not so hidden anymore. And as mentioned, they're there. And I do encourage all of you, get brave. I went live yesterday to talk about reverse mortgages on my Facebook. I hadn't done it in a long time. I had no makeup. I just worked out. My hair was a disaster, but I had been going through something, and I had an epiphany of what something I wanted to say. So I literally just picked up my phone and went live. And people don't care. And I kept not doing it because I didn't have my makeup, I didn't have my hair, and I'm like, well, I don't, like 80% of the time. But people are going to start seeing that. They're going to realize, like, I'm giving quality information. As long as you're giving quality information, doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you trip over your words. You don't have to go live, but you can record it and then post it if you choose. But you definitely don't need to. So one of the strangest places, you guys, how many loan officers do I have on here? Will somebody do a head count for me? Raise your hand or put it in the chat.
I think you've
How
got
many-
5 or 6.
Okay. Okay, I'm talking to all of you then. All of you that are loan officers. Here's a crazy place that I got a lot of referrals with very little effort. Divorce lawyers. I went and started to bring in like a little lunch, and I asked for like a 20 to 30-minute presentation. And you know what? I blew their minds. They did not know the process when it comes to people going through a divorce. Like, you know, putting the cart before the horse, filing at the courthouse. Like, what happens when you file? Well, puts everything on hold, right? But it doesn't mean you can, you know, you can get everybody's ducks in a row still. I also, after giving a few classes at law firms, divorce law firms, they were truly just so thrilled to have a loan officer that I actually would help them structure the divorce agreements by helping them understand the mortgage end of it, in the fact of, okay, if the wife is going to be receiving alimony or child support versus a big chunk of money, let's say, I would talk them through the difference of what that looks like and what it would do for both people. And there were many times that I refinanced the house and I was on the purchase for the spouse that wasn't staying in the home. I would be doing both loans for them. And I would help the lawyer structure the paperwork, and I would be able to, you know, I'd get permission to have candid conversations regarding, well, she's going to need, or he's going to need, I've had that happen a few times, you know, X amount in child support or, you know, alimony or this chunk of money. And I would help them through really like the whole financial part so that hopefully both of them could leave that marriage successfully. So highly suggest, I made up some brochures, some real simple little brochures with some bullet points. And that's what got me in the door to start talking to the lawyers. And then sure enough, yeah, they had me come in and teach a little class. I brought in lunch, 20 minutes for years. Like there was this one law firm, I literally gave one luncheon, and for years I got referrals. Does anybody else out there have a story, whether it be maybe a trust lawyer or financial advisor or a CPA or even some other conduit where they got referrals from?
What was your question? I didn't hear the whole thing.
Was asking if anybody else has other kind of different, maybe odd, something you wouldn't expect of where you're getting referrals from that we don't normally think about, like divorce lawyers.
Well, I'm a cyclist. I get referrals from my cycling group.
Yeah.
I love it. So like road biking.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
And I've actually connected and created 2 realtor relationships with realtors that are cyclists as well, that
Nice
I
job.
didn't know before we rode in the same group together.
That's a perfect example. It really is. And you're doing something that you're passionate about already.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I've had a side business, I know Alicia knows, for 11 years, and it's something that I love doing, passionate, it's around women, and I have gotten multiple deals over the years, not even really just talking about mortgages, just because they know that's what I do. And yeah, so you're right, doing something that you're passionate about and that you
Yes.
just really enjoy, right? Don't you, I mean, you come off as who you authentically are and the better version of yourself when you're doing something you enjoy versus forcing it. So like if you're an introvert and everyone's telling you to go network and be out there, you want to stab yourself. Go find something you enjoy and use that as your networking.
100%. I hope all of you heard both of those stories, because the the highest level of success is for you to be doing what you already love. You know, if joining a BNI group, you want to shoot yourself, don't do it. You know, maybe going to a chamber event where you're not also really required to give referrals, but you're comfortable enough to grab yourself a cocktail and go and just visit with a few people, you know, do that. But if that even nauseates you because it's at a certain time and that is not when you want to, you know, structure your day, think of I think I've brought this up in previous classes, but it's the pick 3. You pick 3 things and you do it with all your might, whatever it is. And so on that note, I just joined a gardening group. I rented a community plot because I've always gardened, and I didn't quite know how to do it when I first got down here to Arizona because it's just so different when it comes to the temperatures and the soil and when you plant things. So I really wanted to do it. So I just rented like 6 weeks ago a plot. And so I've been going down, you know, to the plot, you know, on occasion, and I started to visit with people. So it's only been 6 weeks I've had it. I've gone down there maybe a dozen times, maybe a little bit more. Yesterday morning, I was down there and I had a guy who I'd visited with before. He knew I did reverse mortgages. And here's a tip for all of you. I have magnets on my car now. They've only been on my car for 2 weeks. And I've already had 2 people stop me and ask me questions about reverse mortgages. But at the garden yesterday, this gentleman stopped me. He's like, hey, wanted to ask you a few questions about reverse mortgages.
Wow.
So I'm like in there with my mud and my hat, my dirty clothes, my gloves on, you know, I'm a disaster. Doesn't matter. You know, I, you know, have a potential conversation there. So who else is in a club? Maybe you volunteer somewhere that you've actually gotten some referrals from.
Well, church is another one. I mean, my pastor's been my pastor forever, and it's a female, and I've not only done her loans in the past and helped her with some things on her home when her husband died, but I've done her sons, their children, and now we're on to the grandchildren. I plan on being around for the great grandchildren because she has 11 and expecting the 12th great grandchild. So
Sure.
if I can stay around a few more years, I can do their loans. So, but
I love
mean,
it.
yeah.
One of my ex-bosses, who I literally got a text from this morning, we're so good, really good friends. He would play golf every.
Oops, you just froze.
She'll come back at some point. We're also like, so I will tell you, I've been working on my search engine optimization with Google, which just heads up, it's a whole different class. It's super hard. It changes all the time. But I'm closing my first loan. Literally, the guy doesn't know me from Adam. Googled me, saw the reviews, called me on a Friday night at 4:30. I apped him on Saturday. He was in contract on Sunday. We're closing next week. And I got 2 agents partners out of it. They're so impressed just in the last 3 weeks of activity on this one deal. They're like, we are sending you all our stuff. Now they're not heavy hitters, but it's 2 agents I didn't know. You know,
True.
right? And they were just so impressed. So
Well, I went to a class
Back.
30 years ago, and the guy said, all you need is 10 realtors sending you one deal a month to make it big in this industry. And for Oklahoma, that's a lot because our houses are not, $1 million homes. They're getting there, but with the economy where it's going. But so yeah, just adding 2 new realtors is huge.
welcome back, Kathy. We just kept the conversation going.
I appreciate that. Yeah. My car is facing the sun and my phone shut down because it got too hot.
That's funny.
So, yeah, and back to real estate. Thank you. I appreciate that. I never had more than 2. And for me, I was networking all the time, just naturally. I still had a kid in school. I pretty much did all the school teachers' loans because I was always very involved in the school. How many of you are involved in, whether it be the school, a church, a nonprofit of some kind, that you're finding that success? I mean, obviously church is there's a great space.
I do some nonprofit stuff with veterans. I've gotten referrals from that as well.
I would encourage all of you, if you're looking to grow your business and you are involved in anything, it doesn't matter what it is, become the leader of it. Become the person who raises their hand to put together a project. And the beautiful part of that is you can then be the person who's, blasting everybody with your work email to organize whatever it is, even if it's a luncheon. If it's I would always volunteer to organize a big track meet at the high school, and I needed 40 volunteers, and so they kept seeing my information, and I would always email from my work email. Just getting involved to prove that you are a leader and that you get things done and that you follow through. And here's a pivot in your mind. That is your marketing time. That's real, that you're working in your business. So it's not something to add on to your day. It's part of your day. It's part of what you're doing to grow your business. So when I go to my BNI group at 7 a.m., I knock off at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't keep going. That's part of my work day. If I've got a big event that's all day, even if it's not mortgage specific, I'm going to chalk that up as if I'm meeting people. And here's a tip. You want to talk to at least 40 people a week. 40 people a week. Doesn't matter what the conduit is. It's you're having real conversations with 40 people. If you have to pick up the phone and call a few of them, fine. But if you're already going to church, you're going to go play golf, you're going to go to the gardening club. I'm going to go to a seed exchange this Saturday, but I'm going to make sure I stop and I talk to the people that are there. So those hidden opportunities, you guys, you just have to make them happen and get yourself involved. If you are at home, Google events near me. bookmark chamber events. Have it be part of your, I have it on my calendar twice, just in case I forget. On a Friday and Monday morning and Friday afternoon, I have it on my calendar that it pops up, and my calendar reminder is work on events, local events on my calendar. I basically know that I need to go in and look at what's happening in my community and get it on my calendar for the next week and the next week and the next week.
You can actually do that in Facebook too. You could look up events near me and do it by category of business networking.
I've never done that.
Yeah. If you go in your events tab, you can search dates. You could do just this week. You could do near me. You could do, like, I'm in the Phoenix area, so I could do Phoenix, but I could also make it specific to, I live in Chandler or Tempe. And then I can make it to business networking specific.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally gonna add that to my repertoire. Killer tip. What town are you in?
Chandler, Arizona.
You're in Chandler. Okay, okay. Very cool.
So I'm
Are
in
you
the
coming?
same chapter with Julie.
Oh, you are. Oh, okay. Did I talk to you the other day?
No.
I don't know. Okay. All right, cool. I'm trying to make it to the to our event down there, the NAPMW event. I'm trying, but it depends on my son. So maybe I'll see you there. Are you gonna go?
Yes, I'll be there.
Okay, you guys.
And
I
I
am
ordered
trying.
cute little flashlights to give in the bags.
Oh, cool. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Perfect. Well, it depends on my son if he comes or not. So I right now I can only come to part of it anyway, but if he doesn't come, I'm gonna be there for sure. So hopefully I'll see you there. That's really all I have, you guys. Does anybody have any other tips or suggestions or nuances? I really wanted to talk about other places where we can find those referral partners, places that we can join. If you're not getting them from realtors, you know, I was all about just going and finding my own, and it worked. And I really use social media to go find my own and just getting involved in things I liked. Anybody else? Suggestions or ideas? Okay, I want everybody to raise your hand if you're looking for more business or you're looking for a job. Okay, I promise I will get involved with at least one more group, social media, the chamber. You're gonna add just one thing consistently, but you're also gonna kill it with whatever you do. Okay, promise?
Promise.
Yes. We got
Okay,
it.
one more thing, but you gotta love it. Do something that you want to do. Otherwise you won't do it. Or you'll quit, you know? Have it be something you're passionate about. Doesn't matter what it is. Just make sure there's people on the other side. Okay?
Okay.
That's all I have, everybody.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're so welcome. Get out there and
Yes.
tell
thank
me
you,
how
Kathy.
it goes. I want to know if you're getting more referrals, if you're having more fun, if you're getting opportunity, and if you get a job, I want to know.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
Okay. You guys have a great rest of your week.
See you in Phoenix.
That's my plan if I can. Bye, you guys.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.